Happy December, BookTube. How's your month going? Somehow, I think there are two types of people when it comes to December. You could either be the type of person who stumbles on December, like stumbling on some sort of unforeseen plot twist because you could not believe what exactly took place in 2021 and where did all the time go? Or you're probably a type of person who sees December as a reminder that this year has been yet another slow burn plot that drags on unnecessarily and can't wait for the year to end. I find that December always got me split halfway between those two types of people. I still cannot recall exactly the entirety of 2021. It really flew by, but at the same time I am also looking forward to 2022 as soon as possible. But mostly I'm happy because 2021 is the year I returned to reading, that I returned to books. December means I'm already reading again for the past 4 months. And I don't know, I'm just quite relieved that I am slowly but surely aligning myself back into the system, into my usual pace in reading. In October, I have chosen the theme of judging books by their covers, so I picked books that have a blue colored cover designs. In November, I selected the theme of judging books by their protagonists, so I picked books that have main characters who are into writing. Now, for the month of December, this is actually a month that I probably am looking forward to the most because the titles that fall under the theme that I have chosen for this month are books that I'm really excited to read. So for December, I have selected the theme of judging books based on their titles. Have you ever thought of whether titles play a big factor when it comes to you selecting books for your reading list? Do you think they impact whether or not you would be interested on a book or not? Because from a reader standpoint, I find that it's not really that big of a deal. I didn't really pay any special attention to titles. I mostly look at whether the author has a writing style that I love, or if it's recommended by an author that I love, or if the genre and the plot of the book really fits my interests. Titles, on a reader point of view, not really. However, on a writer standpoint though, whenever I'm on the writing process, when I'm on writing mode, I find that picking titles, choosing titles for a story that I'm working on plays a really big factor when it comes to motivating myself to write, and also it works as something like a compass that always gives me a reminder of where I would like to take my story, or if not, it serves as the heart that anchors the plot that I'm working on. So titles really matter when I'm on the writing perspective. Since the month of December is a month of celebrations and festivity and holidays, it's a month when we like to give out presents. I thought that I would give myself a treat and pick books that I know would make me happy, both as a reader and as a writer. Therefore, for the month of December, I have chosen the theme of books with long and poetic titles. One thing, however, that took me a considerably long time to decide on is the number of books that I will be reading for the month. On one hand, December is a long month, so I really wanted to read more books. But at the same time, I find that I am more inspired to read if I'm less pressured. So I just really want to keep it practical and really want to make it less pressure so that I would enjoy the books more, I think. Hence, I decided that I would still just read 3 books for the month of December. This worked really well for me in November. And although I wanted to read more books, I think that this is still the most efficient way that I could get through my reading list. And these are the titles that I really want to spend time on, to savor and really appreciate the greatness of the writing without the pressure of a deadline. First book for the month of December would be Someone Who Will Love You in All Your Damaged Glory. This one is written by Raphael Bob Waksberg, and it is a collection of short stories. I'm finally reading a short story collection book. I'm crazy about short stories. They make me so happy because there's a certain joy in feeling so productive at reading so many stories at such a short period of time. So, especially if they are under a certain theme, that makes it all the more cohesive and enjoyable for me. So I only know that this is a short story collection about love. So I thought I'm gonna read some of the things that at the back of the book, so you would kind of understand why I was so interested in picking this one up. It says on here that this is a fabulously offbeat collection of short stories about love, the best and worst thing in the universe. Compliments for the book says, this is wonderfully weird, it's complex and daring and emotional and unique, it's heartrending and poignant, and bizarre and hilarious. So we don't really know what exactly the stories are about, since stories about love is pretty generic, but there are some snippets on here that kind of given me a glimpse of what to expect. It says some of the featuring stories include a pair of lonely commuters who ride the subway in silence forever, eternally failing to make that longed for contact. There's another one, a struggling employee at a theme park of US presidents who discovers that love cannot be genetically modified. And then there's another one, a young engaged couple forced to deal with interfering relatives dictating the appropriate number of ritual goat sacrifices for their wedding. And 15 more tales of humor, romance, whimsy, cultural commentary, and crushing emotional vulnerability. I haven't really had a good romance read for this year yet, so I thought this would be a good compromise. Hopefully this makes up for lack of a good romance read. Short stories about love. Sure. Second book for the month of November would be Ocean Vuong's On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous. I am not kidding when I say that literally this book has ended up in so many booktubers' favorite book of the past year. It's either one of their top 10 best reads or the top 10 favorite books. That's how much of an impact this book has had on so many people. And this has been internationally acclaimed and has been lauded by so many award-giving bodies. So I know for sure that there is excellence waiting for me. Also, this title, On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous, this is actually really what sparked my intention to select this particular theme for this month, because from what I know, Ocean Vuong also has a poetry collection, one that I also wanted to have, but yeah, the poetry collection is also highly praised and very much loved by so many people. And this title really testifies to how his poetry blends into his prose. And if there's one thing that really makes me envious and jealous like no other, it's a poet who is also a good fiction writer. Somehow that just seems so unfair. I don't know. On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous is a letter from a son to a mother who cannot read. Aside from the fact that this is going to be told from the standpoint of a family of immigrants, I think, this is also queer literature. And if there's one more thing that you should know about me, it's the fact that I am obsessed with epistolary novels, or novels that are narrated in the form of letters. I go berserk for that kind of storytelling because there's something about stories told in letters that just wrecks your heart and pulls you into the not just the story, but in the very heart and the very mind of a character. So I am prepared to have my heart bleeding and hopefully healed. Now, my third and final book for the month of December, which means this is also going to be the last book that I'll be reading for the year 2021. I have selected a book I've been dreaming and aspiring to read for so many weeks. Ever since I got a copy of this book, I've been wanting to just go on the first page and start reading it. But I know that I would have to be patient and hold it off until I can read it at the most special time. And that time is now. I will be reading this as my year closer, and I thought it was only fitting that it's gonna be one of my all-time favorite authors whose writing I really admire and look up to. It's Neil Gaiman, The View from the Cheap Seats. So one of the very first book hauls that I have on this channel actually features me buying 4 Neil Gaiman books, and this is one of those. Out of the 4, this is one that I've been really wanting for so many years to read, because this is nonfiction, so this is something that is directly from the point of view of Neil Gaiman, not in prose, not in fantasy, or not in any type of genre. It's just directly his insights. I think this is a collection of speeches or essays, articles about so many topics. It says here that these essays explore a broad range of interests and topics, including but not limited to authors past and present, music, storytelling, comics, bookshops, travel, fairy tales, America, inspiration, libraries, ghosts, and the touching title piece, which recounts the author's experiences at the 2010 Academy Awards in Hollywood. I know that this will make me happy, not just a reader and a writer, because for a writer, there's nothing more intriguing and interesting than to be traveling inside the mind of a writer that you really admire. Junot Diaz, a writer who was provided a compliment or a blurb in this book, says, "Full of devotion and erudition, this is also a glorious love letter to reading, to writing, to dreaming, to an entire genre." I haven't started yet, but I'm already so happy, anticipating at what's in store for me in this book. So yeah, these are the 3 titles that I have selected for the month of December. 3 books that have long and poetic titles. Someone Who Will Love You in All Your Damaged Glory. On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous. And The View from the Cheap Seats. I strongly believe that this is gonna be the month that I will be geeking out the most, because I really love it. I really love literary fiction, and I'm so happy because for this month I have a short story collection, I have literary fiction, and a collection of essays, articles, and speeches, or nonfiction. Can you think of one book that has a really great, powerful, impactful title that has lived up to the expectations? What are you reading for the month of December? Tell me about your reading list, and I hope you're having a good month. Here's a good reading month to you, and I hope it's been a good year. As always, thank you so much for watching, and see you on my next video.